ATP, what it do? What it do with your boy Clay More Rain back at you guys with another one. Man, of course, before we begin, salute to all my subscribers. Too much love for you guys. You guys keep it going. I appreciate you guys, all my new subscribers. Salute to you guys, man. Welcome to the channel. If this is your first time tapping into the content, I am going to invite you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit your bell icon as well so you are getting alerts when all this content is dropping. So things are just moving around for this Riyadh season. February 22nd card. This card's supposed to be one of the best cards in forever, right? Some people say in the history of boxing. But at the end of the day, it seems like with great things, you know what I mean? There's always some adversity, always things working against the movement. And an old person once told me, you know, prepare, because right before the sun comes out, the storm, you know what I mean? Be prepared to weather through the storm. And it seems like that's what this Riyadh season card is facing, as now we've had Floyd Schofield Jr., who's had to get pulled out of this this fight for what he's saying medical reasons. This is what the British Board of Boxing Control has put out there as far as the reason why they pulled Floyd Schofield Jr. out. And just when you think it couldn't get any worse, we get another message, guys, right? We get a message that Daniel Dubois is getting pulled out of the fight due to an illness as well. So maybe there's a bug actually circulating over there in Saudi Arabia that we're not aware of, right? I mean, this does kind of give Floyd Schofield Jr. maybe a little bit of grace and mercy, but knowing the boxing space and how it is right now, and the way Senior has kind of built this whole entire antic campaign that he's been on up to this point, it's going to be kind of hard to give him any type of credibility or believe him. But Daniel Dubois, being a fighter who's always seemed to be stepping up, who's always seemed to be willing to fight anybody, and in all honesty, most people would have to admit, probably doesn't have any real legitimate reason to be quote unquote ducking Joseph Parker. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he probably is ill. Regardless, he's had to pull out of the fight. This put this one of the main fights on the card in total jeopardy. It's bad enough that Shakur Stevenson is no longer going to be able to fight Floyd Schofield and now going to be fighting a Josh Padley, who a lot of boxing fans just aren't excited to see that fight. Who was going to replace Daniel Dubois to fight against Joseph Parker? If Joseph Parker would fight at all. I mean, the card seems to just be falling apart. But as Turkey always does, and as Riyadh season always comes full circle and tries to show out and prove that they're different than the rest of the whole entire boxing space right now, who better to replace Daniel Dubois in this situation than Martin Bakole? You can't make this stuff up, right? You can't even bring this to any type of space other than Riyadh season. Where does this happen at, that Martin Bakole, the new age George Foreman of boxing, who was scheduled to fight Efe Ajagba on a card coming down the line, would get an opportunity now, a fight that most people were asking for, as far as Martin Bakole versus Daniel Dubois or Martin Bakole versus Anthony Joshua. It seemed like this guy, even though he got blessed after he had that crazy dominating victory against Jared Anderson back in August of last year, who would have ever thought he'd be blessed again and get an opportunity, once in an opportunity lifetime, to be on one of the biggest cards in boxing history, to replace Daniel Dubois and fight Joseph Parker. Now, this fight right here, if it's not just as good as Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker, let me tell you why it may just be an even better fight. Guys, you have to understand, everything, it builds up. It's a building block, right? So right now you got Martin Bakole in position to fight Joseph Parker on February 22nd. Big fight. You got to say that more than likely Martin Bakole would be the favorite in this fight, and you got to give Joseph Parker all the respect in the world for going ahead and taking this last-minute replacement. I go on my memory Rolodex and I think about Sebastian Fundora and Tim Tszyu. Very similar situation to where Tim Tszyu was scheduled to fight Keith Thurman about this time last year, right? And what happened? Keith Thurman caught an injury to his bicep. And who replaced him? Sebastian Fundora, a towering inferno, a fight that most people probably wouldn't have taken. And with hindsight, when you look at the results of that fight, being that Tim Tszyu lost that fight, got the worst cut on top of his head because he didn't have time to prepare for Sebastian Fundora. Sebastian Fundora ended up taking a victory and walking away a unified junior middleweight champion, right? Well, here we are in a very similar situation where Joseph Parker has been hit with are you going to help the card out? Are you going to take this fight? Or are you going to walk away and pull out of this fight, pull out of this event as well? Because, for all argument's sake, nobody could fault Joseph Parker for not wanting to go ahead and take on a Martin Bakole, right? So wanting to take on a Martin Bakole with no notice, no preparation. This is a complete different fighter, taller, different style of fighting, sits behind the jab, straight punches down the middle, a bigger fighter for all intents purposes. He's been preparing for Daniel Dubois for the past 3 months. It is what it is. Opportunities come on time. They never come when you ask for them. They come when they're ready, and you need to be ready, right? Because if you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. In this case, Joseph Parker says, listen, I didn't come here not to fight, and I really don't care who you bring to the ring. I'm game for it. Bring on Martin Bakole. And what does the boxing space say? Hoorah. Come on, guys. It doesn't get any better than this, because the winner of this fight, arguably, is probably going to fight Daniel Dubois. Tell me you guys aren't seeing the writing on the wall for a potential Martin Bakole versus Daniel Dubois fight to decide who fights Alexander Usyk for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world? This is huge. And let's just say it doesn't necessarily work that way. Let's say Daniel Dubois goes ahead and he takes the opportunity to fight Alexander Usyk next and challenges him to be an undisputed heavyweight champion. Regardless, the winner between Alexander Usyk and Daniel Dubois, Martin Bakole's right there, right in the right spot to fight that fight. How about this one right here? Let's just say that's not the next fight to happen. Let's say it's Daniel Dubois versus Alexander Usyk, and we want to keep Martin Bakole busy, right? Well, let's see if we can get possibly the winner between Ajit Kabayel and Zhilei Zhang to fight the winner between Joseph Parker and Martin Bakole. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, a possible Martin Bakole versus Zhilei Zhang, the two George Foremans of the game, or maybe even a Martin Bakole versus an Ajit Kabayel, or maybe an Ajit Kabayel versus a Joseph Parker. I don't know. The possibilities are endless. Either way, things seem to be getting worse, but leave it up to Turkey, leave it up to that team over there to show you how they can make things possibly better. Now we have Martin Bakole versus Joseph Parker, versus Joseph Parker on February 22nd. You guys got to let me know what you think of this fight. Joseph Parker hasn't had time to prepare. You got to think Martin Bakole's been staying prepared. I know if you've been watching interviews about him that he's been waiting on the opportunity to come by. And listen, when the God speaks, he speaks loud, and the opportunities come out in abundance and volume. And that's what's happened for Martin Bakole right now. Can't wait to see this fight. I got to be honest with you. I'm leaning towards Martin Bakole to walk away from this victory. This just might be a little bit too much for Joseph Parker to walk into and win. Martin Bakole has nothing to lose. He's going to be letting his hands go. This is going to be an interesting fight. And I'll tell you what, if Joseph Parker is able to go ahead and get this victory over Martin Bakole, man, he's arrived, man. This momentum that Joseph Parker has an opportunity to build for himself coming off these last couple of victories, to be able to cap it off with a Martin Bakole victory, puts him in direct position to become an undisputed champion, or at least get a championship shot against Daniel Dubois. In the Ajit Kabayel and the Zhilei Zhang fight become very interesting. I'll tell you what, the heavyweights look like they're about to take over this event, because there's so many things going on in this event, and these two fights specifically, that completely can reshape the trajectory of where the heavyweight division is going. Martin Bakole was trying to find a way into this conversation, and it seems like the stars have aligned and the boxing gods have answered his prayers and gave him position to become champion. You guys let me know what you think in the comment. I know it's a last minute cancellation with Daniel Dubois. Horrible what we see happening with Floyd Schofield and Shakur Stevenson, but tell me about this replacement, Martin Bakole to replace Daniel Dubois. What do we think about it? Who do you got winning? And let's see what comes of this, right? It is what it is. Salute to all my subscribers again, man. All my new subscribers. I appreciate all you guys. I see that we have a bunch of new subscribers who subscribe to the channel. Man, enjoy the content. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend. Hit the like button on this video here if this is your first time tapping into the content. Do like everybody else has been doing. Subscribe to the channel, and make sure you hit the bell icon so you're getting all the alerts when this content is dropping. It's your boy Claymore Rain, guys. Until the next episode. At this point, we out.